I recently had a lady share with me how a couple of years ago she had finally landed her dream client, a major Fortune 100 company. I mean, a big deal client, a lot of money. And she was so excited about having this client that she would do whatever. I mean, they would call her at 11 o'clock at night and say, hey, we need XYZ by tomorrow morning. And she would get out of bed to get them that information or that content. If she was heading out to a friend's birthday party, she told me specifically one time she was heading out to her best friend's birthday party. And they called and she canceled going to her friend's birthday party so that she could get them what they needed. And in her mind, for her at the time, she was building a relationship where they would be able to weather the storms and she would maintain that client long term. But the problem was, sooner or later, her failure to set those boundaries meant that she had no relationships left. She had no friends left. She was facing a divorce. And the client ended up firing her because she was so worn out and run ragged that she could no longer perform at the level they hired her to perform at. We have got to learn to set boundaries in business. And I understand that as small business owners, oftentimes every client, every customer matters so much. And so we jump and we bend over backwards. We leap through hoops to make sure they're taken care of. I know one person who didn't matter what the customer said, they were always right. And the problem was that perspective ended up driving away all of his employees. He had no one who wanted to work for him because they knew he never had their back to the customer. And sometimes customers be crazy. And that lack of ability to set boundaries destroyed his business as well. We have to set boundaries in our personal lives and in our business lives, with employees, with clients, with vendors, with spouses, friends, family, children, organizations who thrive on volunteer work. If you can't be there for your employees, for your business, because you are pulled in so many different directions that you can't truly be there when you're needed and perform at the level that you know you need to perform at, you will sabotage your business. So, here are my 5 tips for setting boundaries and then keeping those boundaries with you and your customers. The first one is determine those boundaries in advance. You need to know what drives you over the edge, what takes you into the mode of, I can't perform anymore. I can't perform at the level that I need to perform at. You need to know what happens that just destroys your ability to be the you that makes the magic that makes your business work. And then get that in writing. For example, one of the things we noticed over the past few years with hosting the Grow Retreat is that I would take on so much work in the weeks leading up to the Grow Retreat that I would be exhausted by the time the retreat actually arrived. And then I wasn't able to perform at the level I was needed in order to make that retreat truly memorable for my attendees. That's a problem. So we set a new boundary. Don't take on any new tasks that aren't already on the calendar as of the 1st of January. Everything else, appointments, tasks to do, etc., has to wait until after the retreat is completed. So first and foremost, we got that in writing. So what boundaries do you need to set? Get it in writing. 2, share those boundaries with someone who will hold you accountable. This is key because when you just have them in writing, it's so easy to say, well, I know I said I wouldn't schedule anything, but you know what? I can fit this in. I swear I can just fit this in real quick. When you've got someone that you've decided to hold yourself accountable to, and they can see, for me, it's my team, and they can actually see my calendar. They can see if I'm adding stuff to my calendar, and they can call me out on it. And they don't have to, because just knowing they can is enough to keep me on track. 3, get clear on what is the worst case scenario that happens if you decide to breach your boundaries. There will be times every so often you will need to breach the boundary. You will say, here's the boundary, but this was an unexpected something and I'm going to take care of it. But that truly needs to be an unexpected something. Taking care of that client who calls you on Friday every single week because they need something by Monday, that is not unexpected. You know they're going to call you every Friday. So that's not unexpected. That does not count as an opportunity to breach your boundary. But get clear on what happens if you do waive the rules. If you do decide to breach the boundary, what could happen? Think about what's at risk. For me, if I decide to go against the boundaries that I've set to protect me, my headspace, my mental space, as well as my physical space for the business, I could end up unable to perform at the level of quality that people need me to, which means we won't be able to charge what we're able to charge, which means I'm going to have to work harder for less money, which means I'm going to have to let go of my team members. And we're going to be right back where we were 3 years ago when I was exhausted and worn out and just couldn't wrap my head around adding anything else in. We couldn't level up the business. What will happen is I will literally sabotage the future of my business if I allow myself to let go of my boundaries. And so what I want you to do is figure out what's at stake and what will happen if you sabotage the future of your business. What could happen because you made the choice to waive your boundary and let someone move through it? Now, number 4 is really important. As you're building the new relationships with the clients, with the customers, across the board, you have to have set clear expectations from the get-go. You let them know how you want to be communicated with, how far in advance you need them to get with you if they have a project that needs to be done. You let them know what your normal turnaround is, and that every so often you might be able to work with them, but probably let's not make this a habit. And so you set those clear expectations and then you don't break them. If I tell people that my work hours are between 8 and 6 p.m. and someone texts me at 7 o'clock and wants me to jump on the phone call or wants me to answer their email real quick, I'm not going to do it, and I'll let them know exactly why I'm not going to do that. Because I have to take care of myself, and I'm not going to put myself in a position, and this is the exact line I use with them, I'm not going to put myself in a position where I start resenting our relationship because I feel like I'm having to go above and beyond, and I have to take care of myself with my 6 o'clock end work time or 8 o'clock start work time. So I'll be in touch with you at 8 o'clock when I get started with work for the day. That's really important. And the beautiful thing is if you communicate that in advance, most people don't care. Number 5, the moment the boundary is tested, calmly, unemotionally, but firmly restate the boundary. When someone texts me at 7, I wait until 8 or 8:30, and then I text them back and I deal with whatever their question was, and I let them know, sorry for the delay, I didn't check my messages until 8 o'clock. And it's true, I don't check my messages to reply for business until 8 o'clock. And let them know, here's the boundary, here's why I'm living up to it, and here's what I expect from you as well. Here's what you can expect from me. It makes a massive difference.